Good afternoon from Canada, China. My name is Reagan Stevens, and I'm here to present an investor pitch of why I think that you should invest in the Canadian company Canadian Tire. I'm sure that your schedule is very tight, so I will try to make my presentation comprehensive yet to the point. The future of Canadian Tire lies in your hands. Canadian Tire was established in 1922 by brothers John W. and Alfred Jackson Bills. It was originally called Hamilton Tire and Garage Limited, and later the name was changed to Canadian Tire Corporation Limited. Canadian Tire is a retail company which sells a wide range of automotive, hardware, sports and leisure, and home products. Some stores also sell toys and food products. The company's values are based on integrity, honesty, and respect. With more than 450 stores coast to coast, it is safe to say that Canadian Tire is a trusted brand. Since opening their first store, Canadian Tire now operates in every province and territory except Nunavut, with over 600 locations in Ontario alone. The company offers a university-accepted Canadian Tire Options MasterCard, online shopping, Canadian Tire Petroleum, which includes convenience stores and car washes, and emergency roadside assistance through the Canadian Tire Auto Club. Canadian Tire also owns Mark's Workwear House and 3 dozen L'Equipeur stores in Quebec. It is truly a national institution, so much so that it issues its own money. The next step for Canadian Tire would be expanding in the People's Republic of China. For the next few minutes, I will be covering the current position of Canadian Tire, an introduction to China, an overview of China's economy and political system, an explanation of Chinese culture, and reasons for expansion. Let's take a look at Canadian Tire's company resources. Firstly, the primary industries collect the raw materials needed to begin the manufacturing process, which includes timber, rubber, steel, and much more. Fortunately, Canadian Tire collects its raw materials from all around the world, so beginning manufacturing in China would not be as difficult if the materials had to be shipped from Canada. The second industry is where our goods are crafted and constructed to then be sent out to the retail stores after quality checks. To expand in the tertiary industry, we need to reach a new level of consumers, which can be found in China. So, what opportunities are in China? To begin, they have a population of 1.4 billion, meaning there is a large number of consumers. China has the world's second largest economy by GDP and the world's largest economy by PPP. Transportation in China has advanced significantly in the past few years and will continue to expand, making it even easier to distribute products efficiently. Lastly, China's poverty rate fell from 88% in 1981 to 0.7% in 2015, which increases our target market. China is located in Eastern Asia between North Korea and Vietnam, along the coastline of the Pacific Ocean. China's climate is extremely diverse. It is tropical in the south to subarctic in the north. Beijing is China's capital city with a population exceeding 19 million people. China is the world's third largest country, after Russia and Canada, with a total land area of 9.5 million kilometers squared. China's landforms are mostly mountains, high plateaus, with deserts in the west and hilly regions in the east. China has 14,500 kilometers of pure coastline, giving you direct access to shipping ports. The main cities in China are Beijing, Shanghai, and Tianjin. China has an estimated population of 1.44 billion by the year 2029, which will increase the size of the labor force. Currently, the agriculture sector is made up of 27.7%, the industry is 28.8%, and services make up 43.5%. Let's take a look at the Chinese currency. It is called the renminbi, or the Chinese yuan. As you can see, 1 Canadian dollar equals 5.2 Chinese yuan. For example, a pair of work boots that are sold at Canadian Tire for $179.99 Canadian dollars will be retailed for 936.88 yuan. The main languages spoken in China is Standard Chinese or Mandarin. The country's GDP per capita is 22,486 Canadian dollars, compared to Canada's, which is 50,000. Despite China's large size, there's only one time zone, compared to Canada, who has 6. The whole country is 12 hours ahead of Canada. As for China's economic system, it is a socialist market economy. This is good for business because workers are no longer exploited because they are their own means of production. Profits are spread fairly among all workers according to their individual contribution. The cooperative system also provides for those who can't work. It meets their basic needs for the good of the whole society. The system eliminates poverty. It provides equal access to healthcare and education. No one is discriminated against. Everyone works at what is best at and one enjoys. If society needs a job to be done that no one wants, it offers higher compensation to make it worthwhile. Lastly, natural resources are preserved for the good of the whole. As well, innovation provides a competitive edge and increases the chance for wealth. The second largest economy in the world, behind the United States, was China. China built its economic growth on low-cost exports of machinery and equipment. Let's talk about China's trade with Canada. To begin, China is Canada's second largest trading partner. Imports from China include manufactured goods, mechanical appliances, electrical equipment, toys, and clothing. Canada's main exports from China include mineral products such as nickel, copper, potash, wood, and paper products, fish products, and oilseeds. China's major natural resources are mining gold, zinc, lead, iron ore, coal, tin, tungsten, graphite, crude petroleum, natural gas, and mercury. This is good for business because they are very valuable resources that are demanded from many countries, meaning that if China is able to supply these resources, then they can make a larger profit. China's location alone is a competitive advantage. China has 34 major ports and more than 2,000 minor ports. Most of China's major cities are also ports, or very close to one. There are 6 Chinese free trade zones, meaning that goods may be landed, handled, manufactured, or reconfigured, and re-exported without the intervention of the customs authorities. China's infrastructure is very impressive, with many big plans for the city, one of which includes moving 250 million people into megacities over the next 10 years. With intentions of Canadian Tire stores opening, there will be many possible employees. China has invested billions of dollars into massive infrastructure projects. The Wuhan railway station serves one of the world's fastest trains, with top speeds of 186 miles per hour. The Bay Bridge is the world's longest cross-sea bridge, as pictured on the right, stretching nearly 26 miles. This allows for efficient business operations. China faces political, economic, social, and environmental problems. To begin, China is not a democracy. Many people say that the government stops people from having freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and other political rights that people in other countries have. As a result of its one child per family rule, China is facing a rapid change in its demographic patterns, with a graph pictured on the right. Some social challenges include income inequality has increased significantly, there is a growing wealth gap, a steady increase in cases of AIDS, and employment distribution, meaning that there have been massive layoffs and cracks in the household registration system. China's large population leads to many environmental challenges, some of which include air pollution, such as greenhouse gases and sulfur dioxide particles, water shortages, water pollution from untreated wastes, deforestation and habitat destruction, soil erosion, landslides, floods, droughts, and dust storms. Fortunately, the green GDP has been implemented to compensate for the negative environmental effects. The major ethnic group in China is Han Chinese, and the major religion practice is Buddhist and folk religion. China has great access to transportation and infrastructure. It has 131,000 kilometers of railways, the third most in the world, compared to Canada, which ranks fifth. It has 47 million kilometers of roadways, the second highest in the world, with Canada ranking seventh. As well, China has 110,000 kilometers of waterways, making it the country with the largest amount. Lastly, China has 507 airports, ranking it 14th in the world, and Canada is ranked 4th. China's government is a Communist Party-led state. The current party in power is the Chinese Nationalist Party, China's first major political party led by Li Keqiang. So let's summarize China's economic advantages. The unemployment rate is 3.67%, which shows signs of a strong economy with high growth and lots of spending. China's growth has reduced poverty. Only 3.3% of the population lives below the poverty line, set at 2,300 yuan. China contains about 20% of the world's population. As people get richer, they will consume more. Companies will try to sell to this market, the largest in the world, and tailor their products to the Chinese tastes. Growth is making China a world economic leader. China is now the world's biggest producer of aluminum and steel. Let's move on to China's protocols, customs, and culture that will help us before entering the Chinese market. Let's begin with the typical greetings in China. Greeting others should be done with a firm handshake or a nod. It is important to address the eldest person first as a sign of respect. It is common to look at the ground when greeting someone. Make sure that business cards are printed in English and Mandarin Chinese, specifically black ink. Moving on to the style of dress, it is overall conservative and modest. Men should wear dark suits, and women should wear a suit or dress with a high neckline and flat shoes while avoiding bright colors. Gift giving in the Chinese culture is different than that in Canada. Gifts should be presented and received with both hands and refused a number of times before accepting, as this is considered polite. Typical gifts would be books, CDs, or candies from home countries. Gifting something too expensive may come off as bragging. Punctuality is considered a virtue in China. Showing up to a meal early can be considered impolite, as it may give the impression that you're eager to eat. And lastly, business entertaining in China. It is preferred to entertain in public places rather than their homes, especially when entertaining foreigners. All of these protocols, customs, and cultures are important to consider because it leads to success for global organizations. Knowledge of international business etiquette is relevant for conducting meetings, building relationships with others, and demonstrating respect. Strategic preparation and culture awareness can sharpen the competitive edge for companies negotiating in China. Understanding and knowing about cultural differences is a crucial skill for succeeding in business. Understanding language, etiquette, and cultural time management differences can help you navigate many complex interactions. Now, how should we market Canadian Tire in China? Let's begin with branding. Canadian Tire's logo and name are simple, short, and clear, so there's no need to change it. But hiring language experts and translators could be useful when creating slogans and advertisements. Some products will not cater to the Chinese, for example, heavy winter gear due to their climate, but that can be replaced with lighter, seasonal options. It is important that Canadian Tire remains to make products that are safe, trusted, and popular. This is what the Chinese consumer is looking for when purchasing goods. They believe that Western companies are more reliable, and they are willing to pay more for that reassurance. How should Canadian Tire distribute its products to China? It should be manufacturing its products in Asia, transporting it to location in China, and then selling the goods to the consumers. So, where should we build Canadian Tire store locations? A great successful location would be in China's large cities, such as Beijing, where there is foot traffic all day. With technology being such a large part of China, online stores would be convenient. Although it is important to not solely rely on online stores. Canadian Tire will be the first in China, and customers need to experience the true Canadian retail store in all of its glory. Lastly, smaller locations in malls would attract a great number of customers. How should China price its products? In my opinion, the preferred pricing strategy for Canadian Tire in China will be market penetration pricing. Why? China has a price-sensitive market, which will allow the low prices to generate market growth while attracting a large number of buyers. The low-price methods will work in China because there's not a lot of competition, since Canadian Tire will be the first of its kind. By introducing products at reasonably low prices, a large number of buyers are attracted. Some local considerations before moving to China include its low minimum wage. China's minimum wage is still relatively low, at $3.6, despite its peak in 2011. One of the main reasons for China's rise over the past 3 decades has been the competitive advantage it has received with low-cost labor. As I covered earlier, China's natural resources are extensive, meaning that not many resources would have to be importing, reducing the cost. And lastly, China's tariffs are relatively low, keeping legal fees to a minimum. China's infrastructure will ensure products are being transported quickly. Advertising in China is not that much different from Canada's. The most effective way to reach consumers would be through video advertising. About 80% of the Chinese population is engaged through social media and online videos. Emails are an effective way to promote things like sales and new locations, but do not directly send mail to customers' houses. So, who is our target market? Canadian Tire caters to majority males between the ages of 30 to 49 years old, and those who are active and hands-on. Chinese cultural norms include honesty and loyalty. The motivation for potential customers will be price, quality, and name brands. In terms of competition, Costco is a similar retail store that sells many similar products as Canadian Tire, but has already established itself in China. Canadian Tire must continue to focus on the quality, productivity, guarantees, and warranties, and faster delivery of their products to outshine Costco and leave little to no room for competition. In conclusion, China holds so much potential and is extremely accessible with its geographical advantage. Its stable economy will leave little room for error or doubt, and Canadian Tire's ethical means will continue from Canada to China. So, would you be interested in investing in a successful Canadian company? Thank you for your time.